and how do you make the students who are studying in the remote parts of engineering colleges also to have this kind of knowledge through online tutorials, online platforms, sir?
Great question, actually, first of all. I truly believe that if the end goal is, let's say, getting a good job, good placement, right? It's a function of 4 pillars. The first one is you have to have intent. Second is you have to have access. Third is you do skill development. And finally, you are able to identify the right placement opportunities where you want to enter, right? These are 4 pillars.
And startup culture is growing, sir. Some companies are thriving and many of the companies are not thriving up to the mark. Young graduates, you are about to come from the campus of the completion of the courses.
No, absolutely. In fact,
how do you caution them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think startups are high risk, high reward bets, right? Where if you are able to do something great, for example, one of our incubated startups, Neo Sapiens. So my biggest learning, which I would want to share with the students, is pick the topmost branch and a good branch, which ensures that you get placed after 4 years. Because job is important. And one learning is that a great college cannot get you a job which your branch does not prepare you for. That's what I learned in my career.
Hi, we're at Skill School of Technology at Bangalore. We are with Director of Outreach at Skill School of Technology, Vikrant Garu. Earlier, Vikrant Garu guided lakhs of students in choosing right institute and also in right career path. We'll discuss in detail, the ever-changing technology, what the industry demands, and what the students need to focus to have a greater career prospects in due course of time. We'll talk in detail in this program. So, Vikrant sir, it's a pleasure talking to you, sir.
Nice meeting you, sir.
Sir, we have guided not many students, some thousands of students, in fact, and helped them to get right placement opportunities in better companies. And what sort of today industries need, sir? What is the industry demand these days? Can you please explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity for a discussion. I think students of the future, what we call as the new age engineers, right? In terms of jobs, what we are seeing is, and this is coming from my experience of guiding, mentoring more than 1 lakh students across 700 schools in the country. What I've realized is, while students' intent naturally is that, okay, if I'm applying for any kind of engineering entrance test, let's go into a field like computer science, mechanical engineering, and so on. In terms of jobs, what I've seen is, yes, the largest percentage of jobs in engineering, right? 16 lakh engineers graduate every year. 2.5 lakh engineers only get jobs. And out of these 2.5 lakh engineers, what I've seen is around 80% of the jobs are concentrated in the field of computer science engineering. This, however, will change in the next 5 years, right? Other branches are also coming into prominence. Mechanical engineering is fast growing, electrical engineering is also fast growing. But still in computer science engineering, what I have seen is going to be the most popular option, right? When I say 80% of the jobs, it means out of 2.5 lakh, that's 2.1 lakh jobs, right? That's not something which will evaporate in the next 5 years. It will be something which is still relevant. So I feel that jobs in software, technology, within computer science, you're seeing very strong growth, which is happening in the field of artificial intelligence, in the field of robotics. I'm also seeing cybersecurity, front-end development, as well as anything in cloud and DevOps as a segment, that is also growing, right? So it's a huge world in the field of technology itself. And I think that future engineers would be more tech first and more tech savvy whenever they are going into any kind of jobs.
Yeah, as a skiller group, we have all the sophisticated facilities, you have good eminent faculty over here, but it's only 10% of the best colleges that we see in the country. Remaining 90% of the colleges, they're not up to the mark. But a student has a zeal and an interest, and there are many online tutorials that they can rely on, and they can grab those skills, and they can, they can work on their own in this today's, technology-driven times. In that way, how do you, guide the students, and how do you make the students who are studying in the remote parts of engineering colleges also to have this kind of knowledge through online tutorials, online platforms, sir?
Great question, actually. First of all, I truly believe that if the end goal is, let's say, getting a good job, good placement, right? It's a function of 4 pillars. The first one is you have to have intent. Second is you have to have access. Third is you do skill development. And finally, you are able to identify the right placement opportunities where you want to enter, right? These are 4 pillars. Intent is when you select the right branch. Okay. If you're passionate about something, if you like to do something, first of all, select the right branch. Second is when I say access in early days, right from grade 12, it means you need to join the right college, which is able to give you an infrastructure which can support your talent nurturing. Now, let's say coming to your point, which is students who are in the rural parts of India. In certain cases, what I've seen is intent is there, great intent, strong, need and hunger to succeed in the field of technology. But the access is not there.
Yeah, true.
In such cases, digital India has actually progressed too much, right? So you're seeing that there is a large amount of credible content which is available on digital platforms. Like YouTube is a common open source platform. You're also seeing a lot of IITs do open MOOCs, right? Then there is global universities who are also coming out with their version of online content. At Scalar also we are doing our bit to have more and more awareness through our YouTube channels, right? So where we are talking about technology in depth, we are talking about what is going to be the future, how should the student prepare, and so on and so forth, right? In Scalar Academy in general, we have been existing for a decade, so our entire presence has been in technology. So we are also covering similar content. Students can actually go through that. Students can learn, even if they're, let's say, not part of Scalar School of Technology. They're not really left completely unexposed, right? There is some amount of exposure as a giving back to the society, which we also do, and then there is other technology content which is also there. So I think that's a very good first step to start and understand. Second, I would say exposure is not only about knowledge, exposure is also about practical learning, practical know-how, right? For that, today LinkedIn is a great platform. Why don't you reach out as a student aspirant who wants to get into the world of technology? You would be amazed with the kind of outcome which you will get when you reach out cold to students, to maybe industry practitioners out of LinkedIn. Drop them a hi. Say that I'm loving what you're building. I want to be a part of it. In the world of in India today, right, where we are, entrepreneurship is celebrated to such an extent that everybody would be happy if you approach them, right? And third, of course, I feel that there is a large amount of learning which you can do when you build something on your own, right? So not only learning from online programs, but also building something. There is huge amount of no-code tools which are available today. AI has evolved to such an extent. So there are tools, in fact, which you can use, like Replit, Lovable. These are tools which are no-code platforms, AI-assisted. You are able to build entire products using these platforms without knowing to write a single line of code. So I think that's a huge opportunity unlock in its own way. So students can actually not only learn, but build products right from scratch, and you don't need to be part of a formalized institution also to get to that level, right? So I hope it would be helpful for students.
Good, sir. One more thing, sir. Institutes like Scalar are there to skill the students and that get placed in a good company. But reskilling is the need of the hour. On that note, what is the primary focus of the working professionals? Is a fast changing world. Technology changes every day. If we speak on that,
Yes,
they have to pick a particular domain. They have to excel in that. On that note, how they should choose a particular course or a particular domain to reskill themselves? There will be utter confusion. They don't know what is good and what is bad, what is needed for the industry. The next day, what is the industry demands. On that note, how do you assist the people who want to reskill these days?
excellent question. I think firstly, I would just like to highlight this. Yes, you are right. Technology today is advancing at such leaps and bounds speed, right? I mean, for example, artificial intelligence is growing 6 times faster than internet was growing in its early years. We are looking at AI, like something like a chat GPT, getting to more than 80 crore users globally in a matter of just 3 years. Internet took 13 years to reach there, right? So that in itself shows the amount of excitement which is there in this field, right? Technology is changing overnight. And because of this, companies are requiring talent to upskill at the same pace, right? So therefore, to answer your question, how should students, or I would say experienced professionals as well, look at upskilling themselves? I feel go where the demand is growing fastest, right? AI is booming. Robotics is something where you are literally having an opportunity to build the brain of the robot, to build the operating system on which it functions, right? Those are broader fields. And obviously there is other fields like cybersecurity is growing leaps and bounds. There is in robotics as well, B2B side automation is happening to a great extent. I mean, if you, I'm not sure if how many students watching this would know, if they have used quick commerce apps, right? Blinkit, you're looking at Zepto and similar, right? Almost 60 to 70% of their entire backend supply chain, which is the dark store, the warehouse from which the product is picked up, it's all automated by robots. And this is going to grow. Recently, globally, there is this one company, Mercedes-Benz, right? They acquired a robotics company to build and automate their entire supply chain, which means robotics also as a field is growing so leaps and bounds. And then, of course, the other fields as well, as I told you. I would suggest that if technology is growing over there, if investment is flowing in that direction, focus on upskilling and reskilling yourself in that direction. That's number one. At the same time, for students who are younger, students who have just gotten into college or are planning to get into UG, undergraduation, right? So I would suggest don't focus into one direction right now. It's too early. Make a broader base. Computer science, for example, if you're interested in technology enthusiast or a technocrat as we call it, focus on building your base knowledge in the field of computer science. A degree in CSE is great. And then once you have exposed yourself to multiple projects, multiple learnings, then you understand, okay, where is your passion lying? And then build those skill sets in those areas where you feel that, okay, cybersecurity is something I really love, or maybe data analytics is something I really love. That's when you should start building personalization, not in the first year itself, right? So that's my recommendation.
Yeah, good, sir. And startup culture is growing, sir. You know, some companies are thriving and many of the companies are not thriving up to the mark. Startup culture is good, but you know, risk assessment is the major thing that one has to consider, because there's a lot of money involved in it and a lot of time involved in it. We can't get back it, sir. On that note, what is your areas of concern that what you have to suggest to the young entrepreneurs, young graduates you are about to come from the campus of the completion of the courses?
No, absolutely. In fact,
how do you caution them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is, in fact, what I personally advise a lot of startups as well in our innovation lab. These are all student-driven startups. And you are right. Startups are high-risk, high-reward bets, right? Where if you are able to do something great, for example, one of our incubated startups, Neo Sapiens, they built a great product which just on 30th of December, they raised $2 million of investment, right? And they were aired on Shark Tank as well earlier. That's a risk which paid off and they got rewards for it, right? Obviously, it's too early still, I would say. But then, yes, they are on early stages of getting those rewards, right? Right from college. I mean, if a student who is right now in 12th grade is watching this video, the students who raised $2 million are just 2 years elder to you, right? So you can see the amount of reward which is there in the world of startups, right? But there is risk as well. And when we are talking about students thinking about joining startups, it's the risk on their careers, right? How do you then take a decision? I feel that in the early formative days of your career building, you should take more risks because you don't have too much of, I would say, baggage on your head. You don't have too much responsibilities, right? You are having the freedom to explore the world. This is when you understand, okay, what can I do which will unlock my interest, which will make me move towards the right direction, which would actually make me more passionate about the subject I'm studying, right? So take risks at the younger ages so that you gain enough in experience. See, startup is not just about, finances, right? It's not about making money or maybe making less money. In the early days, it's more about getting the experience. And in startup, the amount of ownership and experience, it's like a S-curve. You would see the exponential growth happening in startups as compared to maybe in a traditional job. That's incremental growth where you are given a certain piece and you have enough time to work on it. In startup, you have to do everything. Yeah, you have to do much more than what you're expected from at your level. In fact, I know some students who right at the age of 24 are working as growth heads in different startups. I mean, that's something which you typically get after the age of 35. So that's the kind of growth which is possible in startups in terms of experience, right? And there is no risk of failure because experience is always going to spike up. So my recommendation has always been take risks, take measured, calculated risks, but do take them.
Yeah. And conclusion, points that you can share to the students you want to pursue, graduation, and also who are about to complete their graduation, and also to the parents in the final notes, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Students who are planning for colleges, right? They're graduating this year. I think what is very important, in fact, I graduated from NIT Durgapur. I did my chemical engineering.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll tell you my story. In fact, my story might just
Yeah, please,
probably
please
give
share
some guidance more than
some
probably
insights.
Yeah, some insights, yes. So I'm the first engineering graduate from my family. I come from a very humble family in West Bengal. And naturally, when I gave my joint entrance exam, I did not know what branches need to be selected. I was very clueless in that way. So I called up my coaching tutor who was teaching me physics.
Oh.
He is an IIT Delhi gold medalist.
Oh.
I called him and I said that, sir, I don't know what branch I should select. Based on my marks in, let's say, a college like NIT Durgapur, I might get any branch apart from computer science. I did not qualify for computer science. Others I had qualified. So he told me that, Vikrant, I am a mechanical engineer graduate. Core engineering is the future. If computer science is not something you are getting, apply for core engineering opportunities like chemical engineering, mechanical. You are good in chemistry, then you should pursue chemical engineering. So apply mechanical as first, then chemical, and then the others, right, in sequence. I followed his advice. The first year when I went into college, I realized chemical engineering is more about physics than about chemistry. That's the first learning, right? First shock. Second shock, after 3 more years when I was sitting for placements, by that time, by the way, my interest also in chemical engineering had kind of died down. Not because it was about physics, I love physics as well, but the subject in itself and the work life was not really suited for me. By the time I reached for placements, what I realized is a lot of job opportunities which open in campus, right? They are hiring for students who are from the best departments. And the fundamental definition of best departments, right, was CSE, computer science, mechanical, and probably electrical electronics, right? These are 3 to 4 departments in NIT Durgapur. There were so many jobs which were not even open for me. And peers, my friends who had lower ranks than me, but in mechanical engineering department, were able to sit for those jobs. I was not able to sit for it. So my biggest learning, which I would want to share with the students, is pick the topmost branch and a good branch, which ensures that you get placed after 4 years. Because job is important. And one learning is that a great college cannot get you a job which your branch does not prepare you for. That's what I learned in my career. I would suggest that to students. And the students who are confused, like I was confused in my journey, I feel that if you don't know what's the best branch for you, if you're confused, you don't know your passion yet, it's totally normal, right? Don't force yourself, don't judge yourself about it. And for request to parents also not to force students in areas where, probably they're not passionate enough. But always pick a branch which keeps maximum number of doors open for you. In fact, in most of my sessions with students, I suggest the same thing. We go through a detailed exercise as well. At Scalar also, a lot of students reach out outside of Scalar that, sir, I want to understand what to do. I'm confused. So I go through that exercise where I say that, okay, if you are getting some outcomes, what is the best branch you can get in the best college? You should figure that out. Then see the placement report, see which city the college is in. That's also very important, because if the college is not in a good city, number of jobs which are coming down to campus will be less. Who travels outside to a remote place for jobs, right? It only happens in tech hubs or corporate hubs where jobs are higher. So these are some nuggets which I would suggest when you're selecting. Don't just focus on exams, focus on the passion as well. If you're not clear about the passion, pick a branch which keeps maximum doors open for you. Branch is more important than a college brand, because even a best college brand cannot get you into the job which a branch doesn't prepare you for, right? So these are my learnings. I hope it helps. I hope it helps you.
Thank you so much, Vikrant, sir.
Sure, thank you so much.
And for the Telugu students, especially you're watching this program, కేవలం పర్సెంటేజ్ గ్రేడ్స్ వస్తే సరిపోదు అనమాట. సో దే డూ మ్యాటర్స్, బట్ కానీ ఏంటంటే స్కిల్ సెట్స్ అనేటువంటివి చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఫర్ దట్ మనం రిమోట్ కాలేజ్లో చదువుతూ ఉండొచ్చు అనమాట. బట్ ఈరోజు అన్ని ఈక్వల్ యాక్సెస్ ఉన్నాయి. ఎందుకంటే ఆన్లైన్ ట్యూటోరియల్స్ వచ్చాయి, ప్లాట్ఫామ్స్ వచ్చాయి, యాక్సెస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు, మనం నేర్చుకోవచ్చు. కాబట్టి ఏదో బెస్ట్ కాలేజ్లోనే ఉంటేనే స్కిల్స్ వస్తాయనేటువంటిది కాదు. బట్ రిమోట్ ప్లేసెస్లో ఉన్నా కూడా, రూరల్ ప్లేసెస్లో ఉన్నా కూడా, గ్రామీణ ప్రాంతాల్లో ఉన్నా కూడా, సో ఈ యొక్క అవైలబుల్ ట్యూటోరియల్స్ కానీ మనం నేర్చుకున్నట్లయితే, తెలుసుకున్నట్లయితే, మనం కానీ ఇంట్రెస్ట్తో జీవితంతో కానీ ప్రిపేర్ అవ్వగలిగితే ఒక మంచి ప్లేస్మెంట్ పొందేటువంటి అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. అండ్ ఆల్సో స్కిల్లింగ్ ఎంత ఇంపార్టెంటో ఎవరైతే వర్కింగ్ ప్రొఫెషనల్స్గా ఉన్నారో వాళ్ళు కూడా రీస్కిల్లింగ్ చేసుకోవడం అనేటువంటిది అంతే ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఎప్పుడైతే మనం రీస్కిల్లింగ్ చేసుకోవడం ఆపేస్తామో అక్కడితో మన కెరియర్ ఆగిపోతుంది. సో ఇన్ దిస్ కాంపిటేటివ్ వరల్డ్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు పిక్ ద నాలెడ్జ్ అండ్ ఆల్సో గైడెన్స్ తీసుకోవాలి, మెంటార్షిప్ తీసుకోవాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంటుంది. అండ్ అట్ ద సేమ్ టైమ్ there is a lot of information over the internet and you can rely on them. అండ్ ఆల్సో స్టూడెంట్స్ ఏ విధంగా ఫోకస్ చేసుకోవాలి వాళ్ళ గ్రాడ్యుయేషన్లో, అండ్ ఆల్సో ప్లేస్మెంట్స్ పొందేదానికి ఏ విధంగా ఫోకస్ ఉండాలి. పేరెంట్స్ కూడా మంచి కాలేజే కాదు, మంచి బ్రాంచ్ ఏదైతే ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంటుందో స్టూడెంట్కి ఆ బ్రాంచ్ చేర్పించాలి అనేటువంటిది వాట్ విక్రాంత్ said, it matters a lot అనమాట. సో దిస్ ఇస్ ఈశ్వర్ ఫర్ సాక్షి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ విత్ విక్రాంత్ గారు at Scale School of Technology. Hope you enjoyed this session.